But let's move into the final topic, and Hawks fans, you've been waiting so patiently. We are going to give you the topic that you've been waiting for. Finally, after the NBA draft lottery, which I guess kind of they didn't want because it was not the results they wanted, you ended up with the 8th pick and the 10th pick, the 10th pick being from Dallas in the Luka Doncic trade. So that trade is final. Trae Young and the 10th pick for Luka Doncic. We'll obviously see what that turns into. They could obviously make some trades, and that's what we're going to talk about now. So Hawks fans, thank you for your patience, and thank you for always commenting. Make a video on the Hawks. We appreciate you. We hear you. We've been giving it. We've been hyping it up, and now it's finally here. Hopefully we deliver. Let's now get into the options. They can obviously take 2 players. They could also package those 2 picks and try to move up. They can pick 1 player at like 8 and move down from 10. They can really open up their minds to anything that they can be of interest to. I mean, if Boston wants to move up, maybe they get the 14th to 20 pick. That's what we're going to talk about here.
Yeah,
so,
I think that pretty much covers it up. We can pretty much wrap it up on the Atlanta Hawks.
See you guys.
Thanks
for waiting. Now let's get into the first one, and that's just if they pick 8 and 10. All right, let's
Scenario
narrow that
number
down.
1.
Yes. So Ricky, don't bring up a trade. If they're picking 8 and 10, no trades, because we'll get into trades later. What should they be looking for?
Now, the thing that I kind of think about with this is, because I look back to the mock we just did about a week ago, which you guys should check that one out, where we did the live on Twitch and then kind of, we live lottoed and then we did the mock.
In that one, you had Jarrett Culver and Bol Bol going there. Dave had Cam Reddish and Jackson Hayes going there. And I had Bol Bol at 8 and Nasir Little going there, which I still hate.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, one of the best fits, and I say one of because they've got 2 picks, is a guy that I had going to the Cavs. That actually Dave's mock, I think, is a better fit for the Hawks, and that's Cam Reddish. Like, it's a situation where I think Cam Reddish is a guy, I've said it before, needs to go somewhere where the expectations aren't really that high, unless the Hawks do what Dave was talking about in the Anthony Davis trade. It's basically, for me, the Hawks could be a good situation of he wouldn't be asked to do much. Trae Young is a better passer, better facilitator than R.J. Barrett that he had at Duke.
Or Trae Jones.
Or Trae Jones. Wouldn't have to deal with the Zion kind of blocking the sun and having him on the team. He could just be one of the guys on the team, do what he does best, and could possibly be a guy that when Trae Young's off the floor could run the offense for this team and add defense to them. So that's kind of the first guy I look at of who could fall for them, even though I had him go at 4.
You had him going. Yeah, wait, what did you say?
Even though I had Cam Reddish go to the Cavs. Dave had him go to the Hawks.
You said 4. He
did
5.
Yeah, the Cavs would have drafted him at 4.
I like the Culver pick way better than Cam Reddish. And we've talked about this, obviously, the disagreement that we have between that.
5.
Yeah, that was what was
I said 4. I meant 5.
You're good. You have him going to the Cavs. That's all. I disagree with you. I think Jarrett Culver's a way better fit, and the fact that he fell there, that's a perfect place for him to land. Maybe you don't move Herter out of the lineup, maybe you do. Yada yada yada. This kid can be a spot up shooter. He can be a secondary ball handler, and he's going to be instant defense no matter what. I think he's perfect next to Trae Young. I think that's why you move Herter to the bench, because I think he's that good of a defender right away.
Just slide him over.
And I think that he can be that good of a spot up shooter. Now, that's going to then bring up the fact of, people, and especially our boy Nico Damas on Twitter, we're going to be like, well, then why don't you have the Lakers going Jarrett Culver? Well, that's because I think that Darius Garland's ceiling is so much higher than Jarrett Culver. But if he's next to a great point guard like Trae Young, and I think that speed is going to really help him rather than like LeBron slow trotting, pacing, using 24 seconds of the shot clock. I really think that Jarrett Culver would thrive in Atlanta. I think playing at that high speed, getting guys really open would be huge. I love that fit of Culver, and that's a great value for them at 8.
Yeah, if he was available at 8, I actually think you killed it on that one, Ricky. Sean, for all the reasons you mentioned, and then just the pairing of Trae Young, having someone else he can defer to when he does get dealt up, because of his small size, he uses his quickness mostly to come off of screens to try to get open shots or to create for others. But there's sometimes where it's just like that defense focuses in on him. He needs someone else who can step up, and Jarrett Culver can be that guy. So I would be intrigued to see him paired up with Trae Young leading that offense. Be really exciting.
Are you upset if you're a Hawks fan? Let's say you are looking at the kind of 2-3 position at 8. Are you upset with either of Cam Reddish, Jarrett Culver, or even a DeAndre Hunter? Are you just hoping one of those three guys
honestly
gets to you at 8?
I would be thrilled if one of those guys got to me at 8 because I think the board is so fluid right now. We've got basically the top 3, potentially 4 locked in with the rumors about the Lakers and Darius Garland.
3 for sure locked in because Lakers could always trade that pick.
Right, but still, that could be the guy coming off the board.
And
yes,
potentially 5 of the top 6 with the Suns and Kobe White.
Here's the thing is, even if the Knicks trade that pick, it's still RJ Barrett.
Right.
That's what I'll make. That's what I'll say.
Okay.
At least. You know, so that's I think the top 3 are for sure locked in. The thing is just I look at it, and if we're saying which is the best outcome for them, I would have to rank it Ricky, getting Jerry Culver and Bol Bol, then Dave, Cam Reddish, and Jackson Hayes, and then me, Bol Bol, and Nasir Little, because I think you got to go wing and big, and that's all that we went for. Because right now you have Trae Young, you have Kevin Huerter who plays the 2 or the 3, you have Taurean Prince, but Prince is a little bit older, so maybe you want to get someone younger who's going to fit more of the timeline. You already have Collins at the 4, so you're not going to look after that, and you have Dedmon who's expiring, who's a UFA. And you want to go get a younger 5. So I think that Bol Bol is definitely an interesting pick because he has so much potential, but also Hayes, you talk about his defensive abilities next to John Collins.
But at the same time, do you want a 5 who can shoot threes? As Sean and I talked about in the PTP. 3 plugs, 1 show.
I love it.
I'm on fire today.
I don't even remember when we talked about Bol Bol.
With Gorga.
That's right.
Ricky's boy, Gorga Batazde.
Gorga Batazde.
Yes, we know his name is Goga. It's just go with it.
But I look at this, and I think that, that's a dream scenario, them getting Culver and Bol Bol. But that's also, you had DeAndre Hunter fall all the way to 11 and Jackson Hayes going before them at 9. You had Brandon Clark going 4, which kind of threw that whole thing off. So really the possibilities of that happening are slightly slim.
It's a long shot, but I could see a player like Hunter potentially falling. Jarrett's a hard one to see falling. I think it's more likely to see Cam fall, and it's more likely to see a player like DeAndre Hunter fall. Well, even though they're both very good prospects, but it's just the way this can work out with different team needs. I can see either one of those 2-3 kind of wing guys, maybe 4 even for Hunter, be available at that position.
Well, and here's the thing is I think we all kind of have 3 different slots for these Hawks picks. Ricky's his best case scenario. Dave is what's probably most likely going to happen, Cam falling, or most likely to happen, Cam falling and Jackson Hayes being available. And then mine is like kind of worst case scenario, where I think I kind of made a mistake not going Sekou at 8 and then just seeing what the Wizards were going to do, because if they take Bol Bol, oh well, Jackson Hayes is still on the board. Or if we like Brandon Clark that much, Brandon Clark's still on the board as a rim protector. But obviously now with him coming out being like
officially 6'8", with shoes,
that's 6'6" without shoes. Very concerning his size, and I don't know if he will be a rim protector. But Jackson Hayes definitely has the body to be a rim protector. So I think I totally screwed up on the Hawks pick, so I think that would be worst case scenario for them. But ultimately, I think it's going to end up being like who is going to be available at 8, and I think at that 8th pick, it's most likely just get the best wing available, because you're probably going to have your choice at some impact big, whether that be Jackson Hayes to play defense next to John Collins, whether that be Bol Bol to have that unicorn, or whether you take a shot at Goga, because this is your second pick, and I love the guy, and I think he's a very interesting player. I was wondering about the Hawks, and I was like, well, I thought that would be a good spot for him, but they already took Bol Bol at 8, so they're not going to take double up on centers. There's no way. And I like Goga way better than Nasir Little, but I was trying to fit a wing on there, and now with the news about Brandon Clark being so small, maybe you do take Brandon Clark there. Maybe you take a shot at him and try to see. You
can mold him into a more of a 3 kind of guy.
Yeah. Maybe
develop that shot.
I think that would be something that'd be very interesting to see.
He's older, but at the same time, I still think he could grow his game.
Yeah, I think he'd be an interesting player there. But then Nasir Little, you see the measurements coming out, and it's just like, Jesus Christ, the NBA body's there, and now he's coming out saying, "Oh, the coaches didn't set me up right." And Ricky, you brought this up multiple times when we talked about Nasir Little. I just wonder if Nasir truly believes that, and what he actually thinks his role is going to be. What does he think he's going to be in the NBA to be a successful NBA player? I don't know what that is. Do you think he's a guy that needs the ball in his hands consistently? Because he didn't really have that opportunity at UNC.
Well, the thing I just wanted to mention was...
Yeah, go ahead.
The thing about his comments that they rubbed me the wrong way. Because even if, let's say it was true, that the coaches put you in a wrong situation, if I am a team, if I'm ownership, coach... I would rather hear someone say, hey, you know what? It just wasn't a good situation. This is what I need to do to get better. Kind of put the blame on yourself rather than a guy who's just going to, because like to me, this screams, oh, so if things don't go your way, you're just going to point fingers. Are you going to be the guy that points fingers and goes, it's your fault, your fault, your fault? Or is it going to be, hey, I need to, this is me. And I know Dave making the joke about Terry Rozier.
Literally the opposite. That's literally all I did was my teammates sucked, my coach sucked. I'm so much better.
Yeah, and I mean,
sacrificed
it's just,
for this team to lose.
It's not a good look. And especially, like, Terry Rozier can come out and do that because it doesn't matter. He's either going to get a contract with someone else or get paid by the Celtics.
It's not a good look to do publicly.
It's not.
To go on ESPN all day and parade that around.
Especially as a draft pick, too. Because, like Terry Rozier is going to get his money.
Someone will pay him because there's so many teams desperate for a point guard.
Or to try to screw over the Celtics of like, hey, have fun trying to get things when you got to pay Terry Rozier this much now if you want to keep him. True. I think it's a bad look. I mean, I don't think Nasir Little to me, I didn't have him in my lottery for obvious reasons. I mean, yes, the measurables of like Dave, you mentioned while we were off the air of like, he's got a grown man's body. But really, it's like I've said numerous times with Nasir Little, what are you getting mentally above the shoulders? And I'm not talking about smarts. I'm talking about maturity at this point. Are you getting someone who is going to be a mature player on your team? And that's why if I'm the Hawks, I would stay away from him because he could be more of a cancer to this young team than a benefit.
Do you think there's any of those? We hit kind of like the top wings, and then you kind of hit that Nasir Little, which makes you go, so that second tier of wings, whether we're talking a Sekou Demboya, Kevin Porter Jr., even, a Nickeil Alexander-Walker, somebody who can play the two for you. Obviously, Sekou playing more of the three or the four. Like, even a PJ Washington. Is there a chance that some of these guys can slide up for that Hawks? Should they go with a center with their first?
I like PJ.
See, but here's the thing: is if I'm thinking about that, then why not move down? Because if you're saying all these options are available, then why not move down if a team is very interested in a Sekou Demboya? That way you can get a extra value. Yeah. Let's just say Boston wants it and they'll give up 14 and 22 to slide down. I don't think they'll do that. I think that's too much value or whatever. But that's something that I think that the Hawks should explore because PJ Washington might be a guy that's still available at 14, and that way you get those extra picks to replenish and just keep adding on, and you get another backup center who, if you take Bobo, then you don't have to worry about if Bobo doesn't pan out, you can at least get a guy that you might be able to work on, like Charles Bassey or Daniel Gafford. Like I think you can get a lot of value moving down and still addressing your needs.
Yeah, because if like Culver's off the board, Cam's off the board, and even DeAndre Hunter's off the board already, like they're in that situation. Like, okay, so like you said, you can take a flyer on Bobo. Or if you move back, you can get a couple of those guys who, obviously, they've got in our heads, we've slid them into tiers already, basically saying their top end might not be as high. But this year's draft, I think there's a very large, like C tier of grouping. Like you have Zion, you've got Ja, RJ, and then you've got, I think Bobo, as far as top end potential, is right there with them. Darius Garland right there with them. But then you've got everybody else in my mind. It's literally like, I could take 6 through 22 and probably put them in a bag, shake them up, and be like, you know what? I could make a case for that. So that's why I think, Sean, as far as trading back, that might be a wise idea if things do roll out poorly for them with the earlier draft selections from other teams, taking their guys off the board.
Here's the thing, though. Are you looking for, let's say you go to trade back the 10th pick.
Yeah.
Are you looking for a pick next year? Are you looking for maybe an additional pick in 2021? Because looking at the next 4 years for this team, this year they've got the 2 picks. Next year they have their own, and with Cleveland's pick, they will get it if Cleveland's not in the top 10. Yeah, they'll get it between 11 and 30. So odds are they might not have that pick.
Who knows with the lottery chances?
Exactly. But if that's a top 10 pick, if that's an 11th pick or later, then it's a Hawk. That probably will be a second-round pick as it gets deferred because I don't think Cleveland will be that well. So now that I'm looking at it, getting a 2020 pick for sure that could be like, hey, we know that we're not going to have this Cleveland pick. Let's get another one. instead. Then they got their own in 2021, the infamous high school class that we may
Potentially.
get.
Could be 2020, could be 2021, could be 2022.
And then 2022, unless the Thunder blow everything up, they'll most likely have the Thunder pick, which will be 15 to 30.
So I think I would probably go for... I would try to get next year. I honestly... The more I'm looking into next year's draft class, it looks like it's got a deep pool of talent. Looks like there's some interesting prospects. And you don't want to pile up the contract years too close. Like, they've already got, Trae Young and Herter are together. You've got John Collins from the year before. I'm trying to space that out because I don't want to pay Taurean Prince that much money when he comes off of his first contract. I don't think he's going to do a ton, but he's a solid player. So it's just, you need to spread that out. Otherwise, you work yourself into some bad cap situations, I think, going forward.
Yeah, I think, too, looking at these two picks, it's kind of a disappointment because at some point it was, we can get our own pick in the top 5, and then, we can, at worst, we're 10. So that way we can get, a top 5 pick and a 10th pick, and that way we'll have the pick of our elite wing, like a Culver, like a Reddish, if you think he's elite, like a Hunter, and then with the 10th pick, you can still have your choice of a center. But now at this 8 and 10 spot, it's like, well, do we try to trade up and get one of those elite guys that we think can be there? I mean, that way we don't have to pay 2 guys, like you were saying, in the same year and re-up them. Because what if both guys hit? I mean, that'd be great for the franchise.
That's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
It does limit your options in free agency moving forward.
For sure. And I think that would be something that they do kind of look at. It's like, well, if we're taking a shot at Bol and, he's not going to pan out injury-wise, well, or, health-wise, maybe we do look and, if Washington wants, or not Washington, I'm sorry, if the Bulls don't get the players and point guards that they want, maybe they move down, or maybe the Cavs are looking to just replenish and just get as many guys to play next to Colin Sexton, then maybe they do move down as well, because there's no real pressing need for the Cavs. Like, getting Cam Reddish would be a nice project, but hell, maybe we're talking about Cam Reddish possibly being there at 8. Maybe you just take a shot and be like, if he's there at 8, we'll roll the dice.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that this team's kind of stuck in a rock and a hard place where it's like, do we go after the 2 guys and take 2 shots? Do we go and get our guy and move up? Or do we just try to get the best value that's out there? And ultimately, looking at Trae Young and how effective he was, and looking at John Collins and seeing possibly all-star potential at his peak, and seeing Kevin Huerter's impact on both ends of the floor last year, I really think that trading up might be the smartest, because you already traded back last year. You got that 10th pick. You're kind of just playing with house money at that point. I think going up and getting an impact player would really, really just probably put you near like that finishing, the starting lineup, because you'll still have to bring back Dedmon, most likely, and I think he's a good fit on that team.
Yeah,
but I think that if you're able to get a Culver, you're able to kind of see the direction of where you need to go now. It's not really, oh, hey, we're just gathering players. Now it's like, okay, well, now we have a direction and we know where we want to go, and we need to know what steps these guys need to take because we have this envisioned for our team.
So you're focusing on that number 5 pick likely from the Cavs. You think that they can get that value back? Because it's either like the Cavs seem like the team that's right in the crosshairs because, like you said, 1 through 3 is pretty locked.
Yeah.
4, there's the rumors about Garland being picked off the board. So
then
I look
rumors
at the Cavs,
about the Suns at 6.
Rumors about the Suns at 6. We know if the Suns take someone at 6, where the Bulls might be in the position where there's no more point guards at the top of the draft. We might be looking to trade back. And I don't know,
Yeah, but the last time we traded back
we
were obviously moving Jimmy.
We moved up.
We moved up
16 to 7.
That's right, we did. I completely blanked on that, but like for me, it's like
last time
even
you
moving
moved
up from 8, like moving up from 8 to 7, though, is that really that much?
I don't know.
If you think, unless you think the Bulls really are going to take your guy.
I'm just saying, like as far as like the Cavs are really the only option.
Last time you moved back, I think was LaMarcus Aldridge.
Yikers.
2 to 4.
Yeah,
that seems about right.
For me, it might be a little impossible for the Hawks to move up unless the
Cavs, right?
Unless the Cavs are like, yes, we want to move back.
What if the Bulls move back and they're like, all right, we don't have our point guard at all, and they move to 10, and then Atlanta gets back-to-back picks at 7 and 8. And, Atlanta gives up future picks. Like, if they give up that 10th pick and then obviously a future. Do you think that entices the Bulls at all if, let's say, Kobe, Garland, and Morant are off the board?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Because
I
honestly,
would.
like...
You get a future pick. The question...
Is there a reason for the Hawks to do that?
Yeah.
If they really want to, like, say it works out, so we know 1 through 4. 5, we're going to say...
We'll say the 1 through 4.
So 1 is Zion, 2 is Ja, 3 is RJ, 4 is going to be Darius Garland from the rumor mill right now as we record. And then we're stuck at 5. Consensus on the Cavs taking
a wing.
Jarrett Culver. So Culver's off at 5.
And then White goes.
Suns take White. So then we're looking at having DeAndre Hunter, very attractive prospect, Cam Reddish, Jackson Hayes, Sekou. Obviously.
I would personally do that if I'm the Hawks. And the reason why I would seriously think about doing that is the same thing that happened to you, Sean, in our mock draft of basically, all right, now I'm at 7 and 8. I get my wing. I get my center. I don't have to worry about the Hawks not the Hawks. I don't have to worry about the Wizards taking one of my bigs. If at 7 we take the wing we want, at 8 we take the center we want. We leave. Yes, I have to give up next year's pick, but I check all my boxes.
Do they go after a big, though, or do they double up? Because what if they go Cam Reddish and get a project and then go get DeAndre Hunter, who can guard 4s, and then you move Collins to the 5?
You could do that, too.
And then, obviously, you could also just add a ton of versatility if you re-sign Dedmon, too.
Yeah. Now I think that might be the best route to go then, because you just have wing depth and hope on the future, because Cam's got incredible upside, and Hunter is a professional coming in, and he's versatile enough to guard multiple positions, like you said.
In the last 2K, my team I did too. Guess what? DeMarcus Cousins became a Hawk, and they have a ton of cap space. So
and you know what? Fuck. You know what pairs well with the DeMarcus Cousins?
What?
Anthony Davis.
Oh, I thought you were going to tease it and say, check out our other segment.
Check out our other segment for the details on that.
I mean, do you want to bring it up?
I'll just say if you haven't
How
watched
realistic do you think it is?
I don't know.
Because, I mean, Hawks fans are coming in. So
Hawks fans, go watch the segment on Anthony Davis.
Lay it out here.
There's a treat for you at the end.
Lay it out here.
I think there's, I don't know, like a 3% chance.
That's pretty high.
Yeah.
For a team that's not even in the discussion.
They've got multiple future picks. They've got multiple picks this year. They've got future picks for next couple of years that they can move. They've got a ton of cap space so they can bring in a top free agent. They can pair them with one of the best young point guards who has unlimited fucking range. They've got Kevin Huerter, who's going to be a very good two-way, 2 or 3 at the NBA level, whatever they want to slot him in as. And they've got a good movable piece in John Collins, who I know he might be a future all-star, and offensively he is gifted. Good Lord. But Anthony Davis, people. Anthony fucking Davis. Pairing with, maybe a reunion tour with Boogie Cousins. That would be disgusting. And you still roll out the corpse of Vince Carter. And you're fucking, like, come on, man.
Also, shout out to Amari Spellman, who we just never mentioned in any of these Hawk videos, because he was fine.
He's growing.
When he was drafted, everyone's like, they got their Draymond.
Yeah,
we got our Draymond.
Yeah. He's good. He's a good bench unit kind of guy.
He's fine.
Yeah.
I just think that...
Sean's almost conscious at this point.
I just think that this team, like... I feel like
they're close to a playoff team next year.
I feel like they're kind of like a piece away, and maybe Hunter is that guy to put him over because he brings just that somewhat veteran mindset already. Because I know he's an older player, he's a sophomore, but he just seems so mature already, and he's such a good defender. What do you like about Culver?
I would take Culver over Hunter. I think that secondary ball handler is so important for this team.
How good of a secondary ball handler do you think he is, though?
I mean, he was pretty good this year. They did make it all the way through the tourney.
But they choked.
They did choke. He did choke.
He choked.
That's okay, because he's not taking the last shot. Because you got Trae Young chucking it from half court.
What if they put Ben Simmons on him?
He still throws it up from half court.
Ben Simmons can stuff that shit.
Don't know.
2 feet tall.
Don't know about that. All I know is I think that if I was put in a position to say this team goes to the playoff next year, if they had DeAndre Hunter or Jarrett Culver, I'd say Jarrett Culver.
Ricky.
I know it's a bizarre scenario, but yeah.
Yeah. Ricky, final thoughts?
My final thought is the double wing intrigues me, but I think at the end of the day, wing center is what I go with. And the interesting thing that
so you don't trade. You just stay 8-10?
I would stay 8-10, and I'm thinking take a wing at 8, and then at 10. I think the interesting thing, if all centers are on the board, because anything can happen, let's say the Wizards don't go to center, it'll be interesting. In my mind, I'm starting to even throw around possibly taking a Jackson Hayes instead of a ball to focus more on defense and rim running compared to shooting from the outside.
You have 3 second-round picks, 35, 41, 44. I think there are a lot of centers we've talked about. You're very key on Gafford. Could be a potential center in the second round. A lot of people are just tanking stock on different players, whether it's Jonte Porter because of his injury. I know Bassey had some disappointing measurables. But
hey, what if Naz Reid's still out there?
Who's
second round steal, baby?
Who's that big guy you guys like? He's like a 5th-year senior or something from like Zaga. Killian Tilly.
Yep.
Like
there's also Tilly, there's Norvell.
There's Claxton as well.
I'm just saying, there's some guys in that second round, bigs, if you did double up on the wings.
Also, to go at your Ben Simmons take, Sean, just
what was
ask,
it, Ben Simmons take?
With just put Ben Simmons on him.
Oh.
Just ask what Paul George thinks of Damian Lillard, because they're similar heights.
I don't get it.
The shot, like
they're not similar heights.
Lillard is 6'3". Trey on Wikipedia
Trey is like
6'2".
5'12".
It says 6'2" on Wikipedia.
Sure.
And then 6'9" for Paul George, 6'10" for Ben Simmons. So similar.
Yeah.
And Damian hit that shot.
That's 2 inches right there, buddy. And ask a woman. 2 inches will help you will help you put in a light bulb.
And that's that, right?
Take us home,
That's
Sean.
always a bisexual, guys. Jesus Christ. Hawks fans, let us know what you want down in the comments below. I'm sorry, I have not slept in about pretty much
Time?
closing in on 36 hours.
You said
so 11 a.m.?
we're here on Friday, and you said you've been up since 11 a.m. on Thursday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
11 a.m. Yeah, 11 a.m. Yeah, 11 a.m. p.m.
I haven't done that since high
Christ.
school. And I know how that feels.
I have never done it. And oh boy, I have to drive a motor vehicle, baby.
And after, during this segment, when you said, one thing, I'm like, oh, I've been there before.
Yeah.
I know exactly what's
Been
going
there a
on.
lot, Sean.
I'm in the darkness,
I
people.
feel the pain. I understand it.
Have a great one, everybody. For Dave Oster, Ricky Widmer, I'm Sean Anderson. Make sure you check out patreon.com/mostvaluable-podcast, and hopefully this fulfilled something for you Hawks fans. I'm sorry if it sucked. If we have to redo it next week, we have to redo it next week. But I'm crashing. So hope you guys have a great weekend. Ricky's going to fill in for me next week on the Prime Time Podcast. Well, I'm filling in for Ricky, who's filling in for me. Right? Yeah. So next week on the Primetime Podcast, you guys are going to do some great stuff on the NBA Combine. So if you guys want to check that out, definitely do so. And then we'll be back for the fast break as well next week. And we might even have our NBA Finals matchup set if sweeps happen. So stay tuned to that. Make sure you subscribe to us on iTunes and check out patreon.com/mostvaluable-podcast. But for Dave Oster, Ricky Widmer, I'm Sean Anderson. We'll see you next time.